Your cat is sitting at the door, pawing at it, crying at the crack underneath, watching the hallway like there's a whole life out there it's being kept from, and something in your chest goes tight. Am I keeping this little animal prisoner? Does it want to escape? So one day you open the door, you let it out, and the great escape is your cat walking 10 feet into the backyard, sniffing one bush, sitting down, and looking faintly bored. It didn't bolt for the horizon. It didn't run off to find freedom. It patrolled a tiny loop and came back. So what was all that drama at the door actually about? Here's the trap. Every answer that jumps to mind is a human one. It hates being cooped up. It wants to see the world. You're crushing its natural desire to be free. But freedom is a word we invented. A cat does not lie around dreaming of liberty in the abstract. It doesn't have a bucket list. When you picture your cat longing to roam free across the open land, that picture is coming entirely from your head, not from the cat. So if it's not about freedom, what is it about? To get the real answer, you have to stop asking whether your cat is free or trapped. Because that whole axis is the wrong question. Your cat isn't even the kind of animal you think it is. Start with what your cat actually is. In 2014, a team led by Michael Montague sequenced the domestic cat genome and compared it to wild cats. And the verdict was almost insulting to your cat. It's only semi-domesticated. Now, that doesn't mean it's wild and untamed. It clearly loves your couch. It means this. When humans domesticated the cat, we changed almost nothing. The genome shows selection left its mark on just a small handful of genes. The ones tied to fear, and to learning from rewards. In plain words, we made cats a little less scared of us and a little more willing to come close for a treat. Almost everything else about the wildcat we left alone. And here's the proof that the wildness is still in there. Abandon a house cat and it can go feral and survive on its own, fast. The researchers basically said the ease with which a lost cat reverts to living wild is evidence of how little we ever changed it. Compare that to a dog we reshaped from the wolf. Hard, over a long time. The cat? Genetically, the thing on your couch is still very nearly a wildcat. So why did the cat barely change when the dog changed so much? One explanation is that nobody ever really tamed the cat. The cat tamed itself. Roughly 10,000 years ago, as people in the Fertile Crescent started farming and storing grain, the grain pulled in mice. The mice pulled in wildcats. And the cats that were a little bolder around humans got a free all-you-can-eat rodent buffet. So they stuck around. We didn't go out and pick them. They moved in on us. In 2007, Carlos Driscoll's team traced the DNA of nearly 1,000 cats and pinned the whole house cat family back to the Near Eastern wildcat. And digs in China from around 5,000 years ago show exactly this scene. Cats hanging around grain stores hunting the rodents, with almost no sign that humans were breeding them. A dog is an animal we invited in. A cat is an animal that invited itself. And that difference is why it never stopped being half wild. Okay, so it's a half-wild patroller, but surely a half-wild animal wants space? Here's where it gets funny. Researchers strap trackers onto cats to find out how far they actually go. And the answer is almost nowhere. In a University of Illinois study, scientists tracked dozens of cats over 2 years. A house cat with an owner mostly stuck to a tiny patch right around home. Typically a small fraction of the range you'd imagine, often just the yard and a couple of neighbors over. Meanwhile, one unowned wild tomcat in the same study roamed an area hundreds of times bigger. Same species. The wanting to see the world part? That's the wild, unfixed males. Your neutered house cat is not booking a road trip. A BBC documentary did the same thing in an English village. 50 cats, GPS collars, tiny cameras strapped on. And what they filmed wasn't cats running wild. It was cats walking the same routes night after night, along the same fences and garden edges. Not exploring, patrolling. A cat's whole world is a small, well-known beat, and it walks it like a security guard, not an escapee. So now back to that cat at the door, pawing and crying. If it doesn't want to roam, and it isn't dreaming of freedom, what is that? Cats are intensely territorial, and they manage their turf with smell. A cat's face, paws, and tail are loaded with scent glands. When it rubs its cheek on your doorframe, that's not just affection, it's stamping the spot. Mine, checked, safe. When a strange cat shows up outside the window, your cat may spray or puff up. That's a border alarm going off. Its whole sense of the world runs on a map of scent marks it lays down and rechecks. So the door isn't an exit, it's begging you to unlock. The door is the edge of its territory. And what's on the other side is unpatrolled, unsmelled, possibly invaded by some other cat. That restless pawing looks a lot less like a prisoner planning a breakout, and a lot more like a guard who really wants to do his rounds. It's not chasing freedom. It's checking the perimeter, which completely flips the question. We've been asking, how much space does my cat have? Wrong axis. The thing that actually decides whether an indoor cat thrives isn't how big its territory is. It's how good it is. In 2013, the AAFP and ISFM, basically the cat vet authorities, laid out 5 things every cat's territory needs. A safe place to hide and climb up high. Food, water, litter, and resting spots that are spread out, not all jammed in one corner. A way to hunt and play. People who interact with it in a calm, predictable way instead of randomly grabbing it. And respect for its scent. Meaning, don't scrub away every mark it lays down. And the guidelines are blunt that this applies to all cats. Indoor, outdoor, doesn't matter. So when an indoor cat is frantic at the door, spraying, climbing the walls, the problem usually isn't not enough freedom. It's that one of those 5 pillars has collapsed. No high perch to survey the room. Resources all crammed in one spot it can't control. Nothing to hunt. A human who grabs it at random. Or its scent map wiped clean every week. Fix those, and the territory goes from poor to rich. And a lot of that door drama just drains away. Same square footage. Completely different world. Now, honesty. Because this is real science, not a neat slogan. None of this means every cat is fine locked indoors forever. Semi-domesticated cuts both ways. The wildness is still in there, and it's spread unevenly. Some cats have a much higher drive to range and hunt, and enrichment indoors just won't cover it. For those cats, a leash walk or a catio, an enclosed outdoor porch, isn't spoiling them. It's meeting a real need. And the outdoor world has real costs too. Cats that roam freely tend to live a lot shorter. Cars, disease, fights. So a controlled middle path lets a cat get the air and the smells without the body count. The science isn't telling you to cage your cat. It's telling you to ask a better question. So the next time your cat is at the door, look again. It's not staring at freedom. It's doing what a wild cat has done for 10,000 years. Walking its border, guarding its turf, making sure the kingdom is still in order. It was never really asking you to set it free. It was asking whether the little world it already rules is worth ruling. Give it a high place to watch from, something to hunt, and let it keep its own scent on the walls. And a few hundred square feet is plenty. It doesn't want to escape you. It wants its kingdom to be worth defending. Right now, it's probably curled up on the highest thing it can find, eyes half shut, keeping one ear on the door. Not a prisoner, a king, on a very small throne, who has decided the kingdom is fine.